know if you were off by time. So
No, me thinking I needed to go live to co-host, that's what was held me up. So I do apologize.
not
I
a
was trying to
problem.
get
We
in.
are so glad to have you. We are glad to have you. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Raw and Unfiltered Spotlight, where we will be shining a spotlight on artists this week. So whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, whatever your talent is, whatever you're showcasing, I would love to have you on. Each segment runs about an hour each week, and we're estimating we're going to have 3 guests. So today we have the honor of having Pootie. So Pootie, how are you today?
I am blessed and highly favored and free. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's an honor to have you. So, Pootie is a man of all trades. I've had the honor of entering his show. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about what he does here on TikTok. And then we're going to go also over to his special talent of poetry. He has a great poem that he had written recently. So I want him to share that with you. But first, Pootie, tell us a little bit about what you do here on TikTok.
Well, hi everybody. My name is, well, I started off Mr. Legendary, but everybody kept calling me Pootie. So I am Pootie. I actually recently, I'm still kind of brand new to TikTok. I'm only been on for a couple of months. When I first got on, I just got on to make people laugh. It was originally supposed to be a radio show. So when I got on, I was playing music. We got into it. And every song I was playing, people was guessing and like, I know that song. I know that song. So one thing led to another. I was like, okay, I'm going to create a game. We're going to play Name That Tune. So that's how Name That Tune got started. And then next thing you know, I was like, you know what? I need a name for this show. One guy just yelled out Pootie Tunes. And that was the start of my TikTok career. So what I do, I have a game show called Pootie Tunes. It's a Name That Tune style game. Then somebody was like, you'll be a great as Steve Harvey. So then I had a game show called Survey Says. Then somebody said, I want to bring Star Search. So now I have Center Stage. And I'm in the process of doing something else and another project. So as ideas come to my head, I'm a type of person, I'm a originator. I like original things. And I like bouncing off of people's suggestions and I also like helping people bring them up and elevate. That's my whole motto for this year's elevation. So that's what my goal is on this platform. It's to elevate, make people laugh, and have fun.
I can definitely attest to that. I'm probably relatively new to the community. I've been with you guys for a couple of weeks, and I can say that you guys were very welcoming in your community. Between the games, the laughs, we'll talk a little bit more about Center Stage in just a second. Just you guys definitely welcomed me with open arms, and so I was honored to have you on the show today. So, in addition to 22, you do have a show now that also airs special talent, and you want to tell the audience a little bit about that.
Yes, we last month we started a talent. Well, I was calling it a talent show, but now I'm calling it a talent showcase called Center Stage, where if you got any type of talent, where you sing, dance, do comedy, hum, draw, whatever talent you have, you bring it and showcase it. And it's just like Star Search. I have a panel of judges, and I have a celebrity judge each episode. And you come up, you do your talent, and we judge it. We give you positive criticism. We elevate you. We keep it positive and motivation. And at the end of each month, I do a season finale where I bring all the winners because we do it 3 days a week. It's Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we have our competition days. So I have everybody come up. It could be anybody. It don't have to be random. Just anybody that want to come up. They come up, showcase their talent. I take the top two. They go head to head. The Monday and the Wednesday winners go head to head on Friday for a chance to come to the grand finale. Now with the grand finale, I go big. So I bring the best, all the winners back. They go head to head, and the person that wins get a big grand prize. 4K. Well, her name was K, but now it's 4K Vision. She was our first grand champion, and she was a spoken word, and she outbeat some amazing singers. So anybody can win. And is this something I want to do? Because it's a lot of talented people on TikTok, and I just want to showcase and I want to elevate them. So that's what Center Stage is all about.
So I know you did mention that Center Stage is on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So can you tell the audience a little bit about what time that airs? What's the criteria to enter onto Center
Okay.
Stage, and what's the turnaround? Like, I know, is it a 4 week program, 6 week program? Tell us a little bit about how that.
Okay, so Center Stage airs Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I usually go on an hour ahead for 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for the prep. So if you would like to be on Center Stage, all you have to do is come in at that time. I will say put a blue heart. You can put a blue heart, and I'll add you to the list. It's just that simple. Um, if you would like to choose your day, you can put a blue heart and say I want to be on Monday or I want to be on Wednesday. That's perfectly fine. The only day I don't take competition is Fridays because that's the battle day. But anybody could come up, anybody at any time, as long as you're in that time frame. So I am Central Standard Time because I'm in Texas. So I think that's 6 o'clock and 5 o'clock out west, and it's 7 o'clock out east. But yeah, anybody could come up.
And so, what would you say to someone out there who, and I've had, like I said, the pleasure of not only being on the show, but also being a guest host. What do you tell people who are a little bit afraid to come on? Because what I love about your show, unlike a lot of talent shows, is that some people are just really amateur at it and they just enjoy what they do. So you don't need to be the next Anita Baker or the next Adele or,
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder. Well, we're looking for people who have, you're looking for people who have passion and just enjoy what they do.
We're not here to look for the next Beyonce. We're on here to have fun, to showcase your talent. Um, my goal is to start pushing the winners on different platforms. Get your name out there because it's like I said, talented people. And if you're nervous, don't be nervous. You're among family. Listen, I tell everybody that come up on that panel, even CJ, you're among family. I'm not going to bring nobody, no judges up that's going to be mean. I'm not going to bring no celebrity judge, and I'm never going to be mean. You come to my show, you're going to get the respect that you need. I'm here to showcase you. Be yourself and come on up. That's it.
And so I know the first week I came on, I did see a young man who probably was under the age of 10. So is there an age group or how does that work?
No, there's no age limit. I take the 18 plus off because I eventually do want to have. I know it's young guy people on here that want to be showcased too, but as soon as we say young, the first thing they thinking and they are YN, they to come in and do all this rapping and cussing and everything. I do have rules, and I only have three simple rules. Number one, no vulgar, no disrespect. Number two, be positive, and number three, just do your best. That's it. Because we're not going to disrespect you, and we're not expecting no disrespect back. So far, so good. Nobody's came in being disrespectful. We had a couple knuckleheads, but my mods will get you out of there quick because my mods don't play. Because, like I said, everybody that's up there is family, and that's how I want you to leave feeling that same way.
And I can attest to that. And that's one of the things I did enjoy. I noticed that when I was there as a guest host, there, like you said, were a couple of people, and there's always going to be that. And I love how the moderators handled that. They didn't point out attention to none, nobody said anything, they kind of swept them out. And I think that's important because you want people to feel comfortable. So it's, and I can attest,
Right.
just being here myself sometimes, everything is not for everybody, and everybody doesn't have the same maturity level. So I just, I love that when I came on, it was a young lady last week, and I don't know her name, but I'm sure you'll remember. She had sang a gospel song, and apparently she was in season one. And I loved how you guys remembered her
Mhm.
and encouraged her. And she just sung from her heart. And
Yeah.
as they, and that was so motivating for me. That allowed me to come on and display my talent without fear. So I do appreciate that about the show.
Right. Yeah, you talking about the young lady Trinity. Trinity has been my A1 since day one. I love her heart, and that's why I created this show because I'm not expecting you come up there and be the greatest singer, the greatest comedian, the greatest artist of all time. But your talent, you don't never know. I don't never know who's watching my lives. You might get up there and sing, and a producer might be listening and hear your voice, and boom. That's my goal is to get it out to the big platform. So if somebody is listening that's got connections, they can hit you up and be like, you know what? I heard you on such and such center stage, and I love what I heard. That's my goal. So whatever the time. Listen, I'm not the greatest comedian in the world. I'm not the funniest man in the world. But as long as I can make at least one person laugh, I done my day. As long as I can make one person remember, oh, I'm going back to Pootie. I done my job. And that's what I run this show for.
Okay. So I know we talked a lot about your show, and like I said, you are a man of many talents, and I had the pleasure of listening to your poetry the other day. So what I'm going to ask you to do is,
Right.
for our audience, read a poem. Before Pootie goes into the poetry, I'm going to ask the audience, do you have any questions about the show? If anybody's looking to be a guest, how can they reach you? Other than, I know you said you're
Thank
an
you,
hour,
man.
but if they have any other specific questions, you can follow him. Like I said, it's a really great show. So any questions before he goes on to read his poetry?
Oh, for to reach me, you can DM me. My DM stay open. Hit me up, or just come to the live and talk to me.
Okay. All right. So I am going to go
Mhm.
ahead and hand over for you to read your poetry. And like I know, tell us a little bit about how you got into poetry and what led you up to here.
Um, Actually, I used to write back in high school. I used to write real heavy. I kind of swayed away from it. And K, and a few other Jello and Rocksteady, they did a poem, and it's just like, let me see, do I still get it? Really. And the poem I'm about to read is actually the first poem I wrote in about 15 years.
Oh
And
wow.
it felt like I was back in high school, and it just flowed out. It just flowed out. Um, and that's pretty much. I'm gonna try to get more back into it. Do poetry every now and then, but yeah, it's just like it was like riding a bike. As soon as I started, it was like bam.
I love that. I
I
love
think
that.
I got a
And so
question.
before, yeah, you do. Before we get into it, Kobe does have a question for you. She said, "Why do you do what you do?"
I do what I do for two reasons. One is I got tired of coming on here and seeing all the negativity. I see people try to be positive and they getting trolled, and I just got tired of all the negativity. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get on here and bring some positivity. Hold on, excuse me 1 second. Let me unplug my TV because you started. I want to bring some positivity. My thing is I love to make people laugh. I feel that's my birthright. I feel that's what God has blessed me with. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go on here and just create something. I never in a million years would have thought that anything I did would have jumped off like this. And it's only gonna go higher. And with the family I get, I know we call ourselves a crew, but with the family I get, we're gonna elevate to the point where we're gonna be out here and it's gonna be different branches. So that's as it grows, that's what my heart is. So that's why I do what I do, because it's positive, it's motivating, and I can elevate young talent or just make a person day. If somebody having a bad day, just make their day. So that's why I do this.
And I think we definitely need a lot more of that. And that's one of the things that draws me to TikTok over other platforms. I feel like here there's such a sense of community. And like you said, a lot of times that community turns to family. And just in a short time being with you guys, Kay and Lynette, and I mean, so many of you, Chocolate, you guys made me feel like family right away. And I love
Hmm.
that. The no judgment zone, the, encouraging each other, and I know just now in the comment, I saw someone wrote, I want to say it was Lynette. She said she did come on the show and she was scared. So, what advice would you give her so she could feel like she could come back?
I make her feel comfortable. I pause it, whatever I'm doing. I pause and I talk to them personally. So I remember with Lynette, with anybody, they'll come and say, "I'm nervous." Even Rick Rocksteady and Lynette was the two. I'm nervous. Listen, you're my family. We're not here to judge. We're not this. Picture us not even here. You just in your living room doing what you do naturally, and just let it flow. Now, usually the first time you can hear the nervousness, but by that second time, because I do 2 rounds. Around that second time, we got you comfortable, you in the mode, and that's how it should be. We ain't, like I said, we're not here to judge. I'm not here to be down to you or making fun of you. I wish somebody would, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm here to
I'm going to say
elevate,
we
and
run a
that's what I
tight
would do. I
ship.
would tell them just to be themselves.
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
gonna go ahead and attest to that. Don't come on that show with that foolishness. Now he a teddy bear to you from the side out. That little Chicago came out. The little Chicago. So speaking of Chicago, I'm gonna go ahead and let you read your poem. We have about 4 minutes before we bring the next guest on. So Anybody else have any
Okay.
questions? We want to get to them after the poem. So over to
All
you.
right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I got to put you in the mindset. Picture me as a teenager sitting at home, and I'm writing this. It's called Drip Drop. It's about me growing up in Chicago. Drip Drop. That's how I started. Not with applause, not with silver spoons or soft bids, but with a leak in the ceiling of a Southside apartment, where the heat worked when it felt like it, and hope had to be reheated like leftovers. Drip, drop. Each sound a reminder we didn't have much. Mama counting coins like prayers, sirens singing lullabies at 2 a.m., street lights flickering like they're scared too. Drip, drop. Growing up in Chicago, you learn early the wind cut different. It don't just touch your skin, it tests your spirit. Drip, drop. Tears falling quiet so nobody hears you breaking. Friends falling quicker than autumn leaves. Dreams dripping away. Dreams dripping away every time somebody says, be realistic. Drip, drop. Realistic? Realistic was watching snow covered bloodstains like the city trying to forget its own pain. Realistic was knowing which block to avoid before you even knew how to multiply. Drip, drop. Every disappointment, every eviction notice, every empty fridge, every we'll see that really meant no. It felt like life was a slow leak, draining confidence one drop at a time. But here's what they don't tell you about drip drops. Water is patient. It sounds small, but over time it carves canyons. It reshapes stones. It outlasts storms. And so did I. Every tear taught me resilience. Every loss taught me hunger. Every cold night toughened my backbone like Lake Michigan was crashing against steel. Chicago didn't break me, it built me. Drip, drop. Each setback becomes rhythm. Each struggle becomes fuel. Each fall becomes foundation. I stopped seeing leaks and started learning lessons. Drip means you're here. Drop means you're still moving. And if water can curve mountains with nothing but persistence, imagine what a determined soul can do. I am not the broken ceiling. I am the water. Patient, persistent, and powerful. From the south side to center stage, from tears to triumph, from drip to flood. So let it drip, let it drop. Because one day those same sounds that echo sadness will echo strength. And the city that raised me will say, look at that. He turned every drip drop into a downpour of greatness. Thank
Yes, yes. Can you just tell us a little bit about that background? I know you said it was coming up in Chicago. So I want to get inside of your head. Tell me a little bit about what you were thinking when you wrote it, what it means to you, what it symbolizes, and what it was like to grow up in Chicago.
It was growing up in Chicago was rough. I'm sorry, I got my nephew with me. Growing up in Chicago was kind of rough. I grew up in the projects. I bounced from house to house, from school to school. Um, I was struggling. I've seen a lot of stuff that a normal person or a kid shouldn't see before they was 18. I witnessed unalivings. I witnessed been on the street, been homeless, been sleeping in cars. So this poem right here is a reflection that I was told I wasn't gonna make it to 21. I was told I was gonna see 18, and this is my triumph. That Chicago didn't break me like they said it was. It built me. It built me to the person I am today. So that's why I say from heartbreak to center stage, because that's where I'm at right now. Um, and the drip drops are me releasing the tears and the pain. So I don't have no more tears. I don't have no more pain because I made it. I could have let it ate me up, but I didn't. So that's what the premises of the poem is about.
Definitely want to thank you for such a vulnerable moment. A lot of times it's um, hard to just kind of share out things. We all have some kind of background, some kind of whatever. And I think one thing I love about the community here is that you tend to find your people. You tend to find the people that support you. And one of the things that I've found in your specific page is that everybody, even if they can't relate, they have something that they can bring to that. And I love how you guys love on each other. So if you're looking for a supportive community, you're looking to display your talent, you're looking to learn a little bit about more than poetry, I would say this is the community for you. We're going to go ahead. Anybody who's not following Pootie, I'm going to go ahead and ask that you follow him now. Anybody have any questions before I bring on our next guest?
Hold on, CJ. Hold on. Somebody wants to say you hello. Say
Yes.
hey. Say
Hi,
hey.
Candy.
This is that's my nephew Josiah.
Oh, I love that name. Hi, Josiah. Oh, well,
But
definitely, I would say you are definitely a man of many talents. And Josiah got a lot of fans in the crowd. I see. Okay, you trying to steal the spotlight from Unc. Okay, okay.
mm-hmm.
Well, like I said, guys, we are Pootie is always looking for people to come to Pootie Tunes to be on center stage, and he does have some up and coming things. So make sure you're following him. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show. And Kobe, I did add you as well as Sabrina as a moderator. So if one of you guys could drop Pootie off for me, I appreciate you. And Pootie, thank you so much for coming on.
And thank you for having me. And I love the hair. And you have fun. Love you.
Thank you so much.
Say
Love
bye
you
bye.
more. So, guys, thank you so much, so much. So, next, we're going to be having on another special guest. This young man is a entrepreneur, a chef, a man of many talents. I've had the pleasure of joining his page while he was chefing it up. And I would say I'm like ready to go over to his home and get me a little meal. So I'm going to go ahead and add in Chef K. Chef K, are you still in the audience? Oh, I'm not seeing him. Does anybody see me?
I am here. I've been waiting. I've been
Okay,
waiting.
well, I apologize for having you wait. We certainly don't want to do that, sir.
It's okay.
So I
It's
first,
okay. It's
so I
okay.
first of all, I want to thank you so much for coming out of this late Thursday evening to do the show.
You know, it's
What
no
is
problem.
thank you, thank you. So let's give us a little bit of introduction about yourself, Chef K, and what your specialty is as a chef.
Um, my name is Keviante Johnson. I am in Columbus, Ohio right now. Um, and what brought me to being a chef is the passion for it. I've always loved it growing up. Been in the kitchen with my grandmother. And they always told me that they wasn't raising no dumb N words and that it wasn't raising no lazy men. So therefore, we had to figure it out. So they taught us about a lot of things um, and how to provide for ourselves without depending on anybody. Um, and yeah, so that's where I got started at. And then working in a nursing home when I was in high school, um, it became a real true passion just to see how delicate things could get just with presentations that can make somebody's face smile.
And I would definitely attest to, when we think about food, food is just such a segment, specifically here at our community, but all communities. It brings together, whether you're at a wedding, a funeral, a celebration, happy or sad. So I think that we all can relate to food. So
Yes.
I know you said that by your upbringing, that was something that was embedded in you. Now, would you say that was something you enjoyed as a child, or was it something that you did like it was a chore?
It was something I truly enjoyed. Like that was me and grandma's therapy.
Okay,
That was
okay.
me and
So it sounds
grandma's
like,
therapy.
so let me ask you, I know you said your grandmother, what is one of your favorite dishes to prepare with your grandmother?
Cornbread stuffing.
Oh, okay, okay. You was cooking. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah. We was
Grandma
cooking,
wasn't
cooking.
playing, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna
grandma them.
assume
Yeah,
that.
grandma don't fight. Grandma didn't fight. And some
And
greens,
I'm
some
gonna.
collard greens, some collard greens.
Oh, oh, okay, okay. So, okay, and, I respect that. I respect that. I personally have never dated a guy who can cook, so I can appreciate the upbringing that grandma brought because I get tired of cooking all the meals. So, I think that's a
Yeah,
bonus every time you have someone who can help in the kitchen, especially when it's good. Because
yeah,
some people say they can cook, and there's some people that they can cook.
yeah. Some
So.
people could cook, but some people, can you cook though?
Yes, and I've definitely had the pleasure, like I said, of watching you on your live, and you were doing your
Love
thing.
it.
And
I
I think
love it.
that's one thing that I said.
I cook with love and joy. You know, if it ain't no joy in the house, ain't no love in the house, ain't no love going in that food.
Okay, so I know you said coming up your favorite thing to cook with your grandmother. So what would you say is your, if you have a specialty, what's like your specialty thing to make right now? What is something that's in high demand?
Lately, I've been having off the wall requests. I think I think it was the oxtail dinner that I just so and yeah, it was the oxtail dinner. That
Okay, okay. And so, what does that look like? So, I know you are doing like meal prep. So, outside of the meal prep for the community, what are some of the other things that you have up and coming? I think everybody will be excited to hear about that.
oh man, I got a lot of great things coming. Well, what I did was I started my when I started it selling plates. Well, I got myself from Facebook and off of Instagram for one. I brought myself to TikTok because the city people just see me on live on Facebook and they're like, "Oh man, you should start selling plates. You should sell plates. Like your food looks so good. Your grandparents' reactions is this, is that." And I did that, and I had no support, no support at all. Um, I was beating myself up for a while, drowning myself. Like, man, I don't know why you invested all your money into this. This is something you shouldn't have did. Beating myself up, trying to figure out what I'm about to do with all this food I done prepared. And I was just like, you know what? I was homeless at one point. I needed somebody at one point. There's somebody out here that's gonna need it. So what I did was I just started giving it to the community,
That is a
and
blessing.
and then I realized like, okay, you're sowing seeds. Like you don't even know it, but you're sowing seeds. You're sowing seeds. So with me going back to the program that helped pay for my first month rent and deposit, that's who I've been giving my food back to. Um, Helping those people out, and the Lord has blessed me with a lot of things in the past month. I just went and looked at two buildings today that I'm going to turn into a commercial either restaurant or a warming feeding station. I really haven't decided yet. I went and signed up for media school. I start that Tuesday, just so I can bring better footage, better quality sound, better quality everything to the world, and just get myself out here. I meal prep, I cater, I do private chef. So
Okay, so quite a bit of talent. So, somebody in the audience is asking now. So, are you in the process of meal prepping right now?
yes, for myself. Yep. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with the chicken yet. I don't know if I am going to make chicken and rice. I don't know if I'm about to make a chicken salad. I don't know if I'm about to I don't know. Haven't figured it out yet.
Okay, so one of the things I like to hear is like, I definitely believe in some instances you reap what you sow. And a lot of times when you hear that statement, people instantly go to the negative. But what it sounds like to me, like you said, when you first started off, it was a little rocky. And it sounds like as you started to pour into your community, the blessings started to come in.
Yeah,
And
they
when
started
you
coming
think about,
back. They started
yeah,
coming back. I got a catering, not to cut you off, I apologize. I got a catering for 50 people Sunday. And then I just had two people booked with me for two graduations that's coming up. And I haven't got the party size yet on those two. So
okay, so it sounds like you're doing a lot of big things. You got a lot going on, especially as a young man. I love to see young people just doing their thing,
yes,
doing what they
ma'am.
love to do. And that's just so important, because we spend a lot of time growing up in school doing this and doing that, and then you go back to work, and then so I think when you find your passion, it doesn't even feel like
Yeah,
work.
no, like for me, it was different. Like from a kid, I've always felt different. I've always felt like I didn't stand with people. I felt like I had a voice that needed to be heard. I felt like I had something that needed to be seen. And being manipulated and been through, tough trial situations, it kind of paused my life for a little bit, which was perfectly fine because the Most High works in the most mysterious ways, and I feel like this was one of the best ways to free myself up. Like I don't work for anybody no more. I work for myself, and whenever I feel like getting up, then that's when I'm gonna get up. Whenever I feel like traveling, and that's when I'm gonna travel, and it's beautiful.
Now, with that comes a lot of discipline. A lot of times you hear people are entrepreneurs, so that does require, like you said, when you feel like getting up, you get up, and when you. So, what do you do to motivate you on yourself on those days when you just don't feel like it, or do you have those days?
I don't have those days anymore. I don't have those days anymore. I don't even keep toxicness around me. I don't keep toxic people around me. I don't even really eat or care for meat myself anymore right now. I don't know what this switch was just about because I used to tear some meat down, but I don't know. I don't know. It it just
Sounds like
depends,
you're in a good
honestly. Like it just depends. Like, and I'm working on myself. Like as I'm doing this, I am still working on myself. So if I'm bored, I ain't got nothing going on. I go for a walk. I go hit the gym. Go sit in the sauna, get my breathing together. Work on my wave pattern, brush my hair. I got other things I could be worried about
okay,
than to
heavy
be
on the
trying to
way,
enter.
Brad. I see you, Greg. I
Yeah,
see
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Greg.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
so definitely, I love having you on as an entrepreneur. So what I want to do is, because the entrepreneur section is such a short segment, but it sounds like you have some amazing things going on to work. In the audience, does anybody have any questions for Chef K? Please, please, please go ahead and ask at this time. But what I would love to do is once you start that commercial business and have everything on the go, I really would love to have you come back and want to talk more about that process for anybody who's looking to do that. Anybody who's
Definitely,
anybody
and
who's
you can
looking
follow the process as well. Because like with me going to this media school, the whole point of it is that I don't have anybody to edit my videos. I don't have anybody to do anything. So it's just like, why not just do it myself? Why not just do it myself? Why ask for help? Why depend on somebody else and I could just go do it all myself?
Okay, and we love that. Somebody again asked what you're cooking. He's meal prepping some chicken. He's not sure what he's going to do with it yet, but I know
Yeah,
it's
I
going to
think
be
I'm gonna just turn
amazing.
it into a chicken salad. Just so it can be something light. I don't even eat heavy myself no more, so it'll be all right.
Well, if you guys want to see more recipes and more things about the food that special Chef K is preparing, I'm going to encourage you to follow him on his social media platform. Also, if you are in his city, and remind me where you are again, please.
I'm in Columbus, but I'm up to travel. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not limiting myself. No, there's no limits here. There's no limits here. And with my dietary background, I also puree. I also mechanical. So your toddlers can eat what you're eating. Your grandparents with no teeth can eat what you're eating. You know what I'm saying? There's no limitations here.
Okay, and we love that. I love versatility because a lot of times in our community, a lot of people are centered on soul food. So it sounds like you're going to a healthier option. You're giving people the options that they need to keep their diet, and I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all based off your diet.
And I see a lot of positive comments in there saying job well done. Everybody's loving what you're doing in the community. You're throwing down. So I encourage you guys to go ahead
Thank you
and
for the
follow.
follows, and I will be
Okay.
following people back as soon as I get done breaking this chicken down.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank you for coming on. And again, like I said, I would love to have you back on once everything is up and going so we can talk a little bit more about that
Most
process.
definitely, most definitely. I got some beautiful things working. I got some beautiful things working. I want to stop this violence in the cities. I got some things in the work. Like I'm a busy man. I got nothing but time, and idle mind is a devil's workshop. So therefore, I don't allow my mind to get idle. I keep it busy.
I know that's right. Amen. Okay, well, I do again want to thank you. Next, we're going to have 1-800 Red Flags. And if you want to know what that's about, stay tuned. He'll be on in the next 30 seconds. Thank you so much again, Special K. And we will be following your journey. And I wish you the best of luck in your
Thank you so
everything you're
much.
doing.
Thank you for having me.
You're, you're welcome. Kobe or Sabrina, if you could drop Special K for me, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a talented group of men we have. Our men are doing their things, and I love to see men doing their big thing. And so I want to welcome, welcome, welcome 1-800 Red Flag. And that name alone always, I feel like that's such a conversational piece alone. So before I go into your story, I just have to know, where did you get that name from?
Okay, so I was at work one day and I was bored, and so I picked up the policies and procedures manual at my job and I said, if you were gonna date somebody, why not have the same principle as if you were gonna hire somebody for a job as having that same principle of dating, right? Or those same kind of principles. So I took every section in the policies and procedures manual and I made it something about dating, but then I decided to flip it since red flags are like the popular word, the popular phrase that people use. And so I started calling this the guide to navigating red flags. And so I was like, if I'm gonna have that, I need to come up with a catchy name on TikTok And so it just started out as just being, well, my initial name was the Urban Therapist because I'm a licensed drug counselor. So then I was like, nah, that's not gonna do. People ain't gonna gravitate to that. So then I started off with just Red Flag, and then I was like, that's not catchy enough. So then I put the 800 because it was 7 letters. So I put the 800 in front of it, and now it's just like, it has a life of its own now.
And I love it. And let me just be very transparent with you. I have been following people on this platform for about 3 years name, and I still don't know their name. But if I don't know anybody else's name, I know yours. I'm like, it just sticks. And so I love how clever that is. So I want to give you a special shout out for that. So I know you, like
Thank
the
you.
other two gentlemen, are definitely a man of many talents. I've had the pleasure of jumping on some of your panels. I've had the pleasure of hearing a little bit about your upcoming book. So we're going to talk about a little bit of each of that. So before we get into the book, I want you to tell the community what you do here on TikTok.
Okay, so I do a little bit of everything. So I panel hop. People say that's a bad thing if you're gonna have a brand. Quit panel hopping. Just be on your own live. But I feel like I get fed when I'm going into different lives. I get fed. Sometimes I get triggered. Sometimes I'm motivated. Sometimes I get angry. So TikTok can take you through all these gamuts of emotions depending on what lives you're in and what conversations are going on. So one of the things I really try to do is I try to lend a lot of things that I've learned over the years, like communication skills, having emotional intelligence, and when I'm talking, these things are things that I'm talking about that I've learned, and I'm trying to give back freely to help people, like letting people know that people have masculine and feminine energy, and how that lends to emotional intelligence, and how communication skills not only are just communication skills, but communication skills are also things that they show character. You know what I'm saying? They show character. They help establish things that otherwise, if you didn't have good communication skills, you're going to be lacking in other areas. So that's what I try to do, is just try to lend the things that I've learned and give those back freely to other people.
The pleasure of being on your panel the other day, and I can say I thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the things I enjoyed is seeing different people from different backgrounds, different age groups, give their views on what they considered red flags. I love seeing us go back and forth, and everybody was pretty much really respectful with each other and respecting their views. And I always tell people, for me, when I'm in a relationship, my relationship is not a community project. What works for you may not work for me, but I think with all of us, we can attest that red flags are red flags. We all carry some kind of baggage. We all carry some kind of trauma. We all carry some kind of negative traits. So getting into those negative traits, when you think about red flags, what are some of the most popular ones you're starting to see?
Okay, so that's the thing. It could be, everybody can exhibit red flags. So this is what this is about. Everybody can exhibit some type of red flags, and we can all be toxic at some point in time. So what I did is I took an introspective look at red flags, meaning that certain boundaries that you didn't set with people, certain things that you didn't address, and things that you've allowed to go on, that makes you just as much a red flag as other people. So this is an introspective look at red flags. It's not pointing the finger to say, "Ooh, that person's a red flag," or "That's a red flag over there." It's saying, what have you allowed to attract these people? So a lot of things that you are, and the red flags that you're attracting those red flags. And you don't realize that because you haven't done the inner work to say, damn, well, I do that. Well, I never thought about it like that. So that's why it's an introspective guide at looking at red flags.
And I can attest to that because most of us don't realize we're mirroring each other, especially, and I hate to bring the zodiac in it. As a Pisces, we mirror people. And I talk about to people before therapy, when I was in an unhealthy state, I would be mirroring the wrong things. And as I've matured and, I've learned what to mirror and what to not do that. So I think it's important to know who you are and stay grounded in that. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. To that.
Okay. And one of the questions you asked last week, and I'm going to ask the audience for a little bit of participation because I found this very interesting. And this is a question that I love to hear people ask. Audience, the other day you asked us, who are you? In less than 5 words, you can just leave little words. I want you in the comments to tell me who you are. There is no right or wrong answer. I just kind of want to get a feel for how you guys are going to answer it. And I'm going to give you guys about 1 minute to do that, if you could. If we can get at least 5 people out of the 17 to participate, that would be amazing. So Yeah, I felt like you asked, as they're answering that question, you asked a lot of thought-provoking questions. So one of the things I also noticed a lot of times when I'm on different platforms, sometimes the crowd can get a little rowdy. So what do you do to control your crowd when those conversations tend to get out of hand?
Okay, so if you notice that when I was presenting the focus group and I was presenting these questions, if you notice there wasn't a lot of pushback or feedback or arguing with one another or disagreeing because it's having you take a look at you. So that's one of the things I try to do is try to have people take more so a look at themselves rather than always pointing the finger and looking at other people, right? And so that's one of the things that I'm real big on is reflection is key to us growing as a person, us being the best version that we can be of ourselves. And that's what I try to do is I try to get people to reflect on how they're moving, how they moved in the past, and what are they going to do differently in the future. Because a lot of times, a lot of the behaviors that we exhibit, we repeat those behaviors because we haven't reflected.
Mm. Okay, I can definitely agree. So I'm going to read a couple of these comments back to you before we go over what that is. So we have anywhere from
Okay.
passive, I'm resilient, I'm a shepherd, straightforward parent, community leader, a survivor. So I preach. So those are some of the things that we have in there. So pretty much it seems like most people are dead on what they feel like who they are. Tell us what that means when somebody asks you, because there's two different versions of who you are. Can you tell us a little bit about that so people have a better understanding?
Okay, so the reason I ask people who they are is because, first of all, a lot of people can't answer that question. They be like, damn, that's a good question. It's a simple question, but it's a good question. And so when we talk about there's two ways that you identify yourself. There's primary identifiers and there's secondary identifiers. The primary identifiers are things that make you exclusive to who you are. It could be your background, your culture. It could be that you are a survivor, or it could be that's something that you went through. But it could be, let me see, a resilient. You can be a resilient person. You could be. So these are things that make you exclusive and special to who you are. People always want to say, when they say who I am, they want to say I'm a mother, I'm a father, or what type of what type of occupation they are. That's not who you are. That's what you do, and those are some of the things that some of the roles that you've taken on. The primary identifiers should be things that are only exclusive to you, that nobody can take away from you, right? And then secondary identifiers, that's when you say, well, I'm a father, I'm a plumber, I'm a whatever, I'm a preacher, a pastor, whatever the case may be. So primary identifier are the things that you can't take away from you, that are you and you hold near and dear to you. Secondary identifiers are those things that you can put a role or a situation to that, and that's a secondary identifier. So if you want to do that, be like more more like focused on what that is, look up primary and secondary identifiers so you can try to work on that, so you can, next time somebody asks you, you'll know, you'll actually think about it and say, oh, I'm this person or I'm that person. So I always encourage people to do research on stuff too.
And I'm just going to tell you honestly, when I was out here in these dating streets a little while back, a couple years ago, that would be one of the key questions that I would ask a man. And if he answered that question wrong, I automatically eliminated him because it told me a lot about him. And I hate to do this, but I am firm on I will not date anybody who has not gone to therapy. And I'm not talking about you just went and sat in a chair. I mean, you had to put the work in. So based on certain questions, I can always tell if somebody went to therapy and actually put in the work because they know answers to certain questions. So if you don't know those answers, I'm not even entertaining it because I'm not trying to re-raise anybody. Not saying you're a bad person, but I put too much work into myself to be trying to be working with somebody else. So I think it's important that I think everybody should go to therapy. It's not about trauma. It's not one person on this earth that I can think that would not do well with some therapy. So I think it's important, like you said, to know who you are, know what your red flags are. And I think a lot of times when we think about red flags, and you made me think about this. When I think about red flags, I was thinking narcissist, abusive, all the negative things. But as you begin to explain it, I said, oh, my red flag is I give too much. So while that may be a good trait in some ways, it is a red flag because what is making me give too much? Am I giving too much because I'm still trying to, heal that abandonment wound, that wound as a child? So that let me know that while I thought I was in this better place, that is something that I still need to work on because that's going to attract the narcissist or the wrong person. So
Right.
it was very enlightening for me to hear you talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you to read a passage out of your book and tell us a little bit about the book.
Okay, so like I said, it's an introspective look. So basically what that means is that there's 4 different sections in this book. And this is part 2 that I've been doing a focus group on. This is in part 1, this is part 2 of it. So in part 2, the first thing I do is ask the primary and secondary identifiers. And then the second thing I do is I start breaking down the categories. So one of the first categories is emotional red flags. So under emotional red flags are things like inconsistency, emotional unavailability, and love bombing. So out of those 3 that I just named, which one do y'all want to explore? The inconsistency, the emotional unavailability, or the love bombing?
So I'm going to ask the audience, pick 1, 2, or 3. If we can get at least 4 people, and if not, I will vote for you. So inconsistency,
emotional unavailability, or love bombing.
okay. Inconsistency, love bombing. Give me one more. Love bombing is when everybody pretty much is saying inconsistency. It looked like, oh, we got a little bit of everything. So I'm going to go with number 1 first. And if you guys don't mind staying over a little bit, we actually could cover 2 or 3 if we could get through them, and then we'll go to the reading if that's okay with you. Okay, so go a little bit
That's
over.
fine with me.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate you guys. So go over a little bit about number 1 first, inconsistencies.
Inconsistencies. So when we talk about inconsistencies, so this is the red flag for the person that we're picking. They are warm one day and distant the next. You feel like you're constantly recalibrating. So basically, you feel like you're walking on eggshells because you can't get a hang on or handle on who this person is. So inconsistency. So the 2 introspective questions that I asked: do I confuse inconsistency with excitement? So basically, it's I'm waiting to see if this person is they're gonna change their ways, or is this really how they are? But it's kind of exciting because you don't know because of the newness of it, right? So do I confuse inconsistency with excitement? And then the second introspective question is, have I learned to work for emotional stability instead of expecting it? So a lot of times we expect other people to have emotional stability, but do we have emotional stability ourselves? And do we even know what emotional stability is? And basically that's you knowing who you are, feeling comfortable saying, I feel this way. I don't like that. I don't like the way this makes me feel, right? That's having emotional stability, is basically knowing who you are and what you want and what you're willing to accept and not accept. And so there's a closing sentence to that. So after you ask these 2 introspective questions or answer them, then the closing sentence is, sometimes inconsistency feels familiar because chaos once passed for love.
Absolutely. And
I'm gonna read that again. Sometimes inconsistency feels familiar because chaos once passed for love.
And it's funny you say that. When I think about a lot of trends, when you hear people say they want the bad boy, and it's not necessarily they want the bad boy. They, like you said, they're used to chaos, they're used to dysfunction. So it feels boring when you get that healed person or that person that doesn't have all that excitement. So I can definitely attest to that. And somebody said mic drop. Absolutely. So going on to number 2, which was
emotional unavailability.
Woo, okay, we about to preach on this one. I can feel. Okay. Let me get comfortable.
Okay. So emotional unavailability. This is the person that we picked. They avoid vulnerability, deflect serious conversations, or intellectualize feelings. So the 2 introspective questions: am I choosing unavailable people to avoid fully being seen myself? Right? And the second one is, what would closeness require of me that I may be resisting? So it may feel uncomfortable for you to be emotionally available, and that's the thing that you might be resisting. What that looks like is popular thing, sneaky links. Sneaky links are unavailable people because we're not trying to get our emotions tied to that person. Okay? Emotional unavailability. So sneaky links are tied to emotional unavailability. All right. So the question is, I know that touched some people. I'm sorry. So the statement to that one is, you cannot negotiate intimacy with someone who benefits from your distance. Okay. You cannot negotiate intimacy with someone who benefits from distance. So that's under emotional unavailability.
I'm going to challenge you a little bit on that because I think that's such a broad statement. Because when I think, for me, when I think of well, you know what, and that's why I keep nothing up. So sneaky link to me, and I think this is where people get the confusion. Sneaky link to me is a secret relationship that you're moving into, and I think people are not realizing it. A lot of people are confusing that with friends with benefits. Friends with benefits says, I don't want a commitment. This person I'm just hooking up with. But a sneaky link, like you said, is a person that's in secret. They really don't want anything, but y'all not talking about it. See, my friends with benefits, I could take them to a party because I know we know what it is. So I think a lot of times people confuse the two. And so I think it's important when you're using these terms for people to know which they're talking about.
I honestly feel like that they're interchangeable. That's my viewpoint.
See, yeah, for me, it's not. So I would say, and I guess again, it's subjective. I think because my friends with benefits, I'm not putting any emotion into them at all. My sneaky link, I might have some feelings for him, but we just can't be together because he's married or he's this or he's in it. For whatever reason, we're sneaking. We're not available. But my friends with benefit, this just a benefit. So when I think of it in those two different ways. And I don't know if I'm right or not, but that's just kind of how I look at it. Right.
But both of them lead to being emotionally unavailable, though, to be totally honest.
Well, not necessarily. I'm going to challenge you a little bit.
Why not? So the reason I say that is why. Okay, if it's the sneaky link, right? We said that you could have feelings in that, right? Why not go find a single person then?
Unfortunately, life isn't black and white, and and I'm always.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, it's not. That's just who you're going to. We can all attest to you work with this person and you start to develop feelings and then you get this secret relationship. So it's not that you don't want to be with that person. They may very well want to be with you, but they're attached to something. And, and I'm just speaking from personal. Okay. I'm transparent with you guys all the time. My boyfriend is married. And I want to live in this man's skin. He wants to be with me. But unfortunately, because of his home situation, that's just not possible. So I know I get a little bit of backlash on that, but I'm always transparent with you guys. So that's why it's a sneaky link. Not that we don't want to be together. Not that we don't have feelings for each other. But it's just not possible for us to be together. So that's why when I say, when I think about, I think more of a secret relationship. Whereas though I can attest just because I'm so in his business, I know more about him than his wife. Like when something is going on, I'm that first phone call, I'm the whatever. So that's why when I say, I feel like it's two different things. But that's another conversation we'll have to yeah. So that's why when I think about guys that I was friends with benefits with, okay, it's been fine. Get your clothes on. I see you later. I don't care what's going on with your kids. Okay, Billy, that's his name. Okay, we'll have a good day with that. That's to me emotionally unavailable. I'm unavailable because I'm hurt. I'm unavailable for whatever reason. So that's I guess it can go either way. I'm not going to beat that because we're going to save that conversation for your next panel. So tell us a little bit about the third one, which I think was one that a lot of us can attest to.
The love bombing. Okay.
Woo!
Love bombing, excessive affection, fast commitments, and intense promises early on. Now, first of all, who does not want to be showered with gifts and attention and all those types of things, right? And so this not saying that there's anything wrong with that. However, you have to be careful and cautious because love bombing means is that it's a manipulative tool. Like later on, they plan on using that. Not even necessarily they plan on it, but it starts to be used against you later on. You remember that I did for you and I did all this for you? Why come you can't just do the one little thing for me, right? Instead of it coming from a sincere and genuine place. So that's why love bombing is an issue, is because later on down the road, it could be used as a manipulative tool, right? So the introspective questions. Am I craving intensity because I equate it with value? So all these things this person is doing for me, whether it's affection, whether it's monetary things. So am I equating this as being a valuable person because they started doing these things and they started doing these things right off? So here's what we tend to do. We tend to go out on dates. We ask these questions. Sometimes we feel vulnerable enough to open up as to what happened in our previous relationships. And when we do that, that's giving them ammunition to do whatever they need to do to get in, to buy you something, to give you this affection that you felt like you needed. And then later on, boom, manipulative tactics. Okay. So that's why it can be an issue or a problem. So the second introspective question: what needs am I hoping this intensity will fill? So what am I missing? What's going on? What that I'm allowing these things to happen so freely and just not even giving it any type of resistance, or even asking, so why are you doing this? Why are you doing all of this? At least ask that question. Is there a reason that you're, this quickly, this fast? What's going on? And so ask that question of yourself, and ask that question of the individual also. So the sentence to that: intensity without consistency is not passion, it's pressure. Because later on, these things are used against you, and pressure is applied for you to, like, hey, I did these things for you.
And I think I
Okay.
can attest to this. Sometimes I don't know with men, but I notice more with females. You'll hear them say, "Well, I just love to cook for him. I just love to whatever. I just love to whatever." And I'm just speaking from a position where I work with several men. I've met several men over my lifetime. And one of the biggest things I hear them say is, in the beginning, she did all these things. And I feel like sometimes we think we love those things, but subconsciously we're not realizing we're auditioning for a part that we're not ready to fulfill. Because you can do that for the first couple of
Mm,
weeks or months, but down the line, are you going to be able to sustain that for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And I think that's where a lot of
that part.
marriages get into trouble, because you're auditioning for these parts that you're not ready to play a full-time role. So I think even we as women a lot of times tend to love bomb and not even realize we're doing it, because we're taught at a young age to cook, to clean, to do this. And then once you got him, it's like, okay, I got him, now what? And I hear that oh so often, where she doesn't do this anymore. She doesn't do that. Or, you claim that you love to cook and all these things. And it's not always sometimes that the partner isn't reciprocated. It's just that you couldn't continue to hold that on because that's not who you really were. It was more so a sense of love bombing, I would have said.
Right. And just to add to that too is that, and I'm gonna say this: a lot of men, since we're emotionally deficient because of the culture that we were raised in, like, don't cry, don't be upset, don't show emotions, be tough, be strong. And so because we've been taught these things, and we weren't given the space and the vulnerability to say, hey, I'm hurting, or I'm crying, or this hurts me, and so on and so forth, then when we get older and get into these relationships and meet people, then that makes us emotionally unavailable, because we don't know how to be emotionally available, because that's what we were taught. Women were given that space to be vulnerable, to cry, to have mother-daughter talks. Even the fathers are softer with the daughters than they are with the boys. You understand what I'm saying? And so because of that, the thing about it is, sometimes that's what we know how to do, is buy people gifts and do things for people to get them to be attracted to us, right? But then it lends to how long, like you said, how long can you keep that up if you're not, bringing in the ching ching and the big bucks? Then you develop resentments. So all these things are like a chain link that lead to other things. And that's why it's important for somebody to bring, instead of having just these discussions, it's important for people to start giving tools along with these discussions. And nobody's doing that. They're just having these bickering sessions, and then nothing is going anywhere. And that's why every time that I have a discussion with people, or I enter into a discussion, I make sure that my dialogue has solution. It's solution oriented dialogue, rather than me coming straight with my feelings and emotions. Now, do I get emotional sometimes? Hell yeah, I do. That's why they call me red. That's the part of the red flag, is that I get a little too passionate. You see how I'm talking now? So a
Yes, I
lot of
get you.
times my voice will get raised, and they'll think I'm angry, and I'm really not being angry. I'm just saying I'm passionate about this. But then I get mad because they're telling me I'm mad.
And so just as you said that, that kind of brings me to when I tell you I won't. So I think, and those are the things when people say they don't need therapy, those are the things that when you really go to therapy, I would say I'm in the healthiest dysfunctional relationship. As I told you, I have never had a relationship this healthy in my life. Why? Because both of us went to therapy. We both have an assertive communication style. So we don't yell, we don't argue, we can agree to disagree. It's nothing we can't talk about. We can sit there and talk about body count for 5 hours, and nobody's mad, nobody's in their feelings. And I think once you get to that assertive communication style, That's what makes a difference in all of your relationships, not just romantic. And I will, progress isn't linear. I struggle with my kid. She's a teen. But I noticed when I started talking to people with less sarcasm and less whatever and less rah-rah, it made a difference in how my communication went on. And I think that's important when you talk about red flags. People don't realize the way because I'll hear people say, I'm a great communicator. What is communication? If you don't know the definition of those things, you can't be great at it. Communication doesn't mean I just tell you all my business. It's how you communicate it, how using I statements to say, I feel this way, not being accusatory, not allowing. So I think all of that comes into play when we talk about these red flags. People look at the love bombing and all those things. They're not looking at the smaller things. They become big things in the end. So I think what you're doing is great work. I'm so looking forward to the book coming out. Tell us a little bit about the book. I know you're in the final stages of it.
So that's what it is. So the first part of it is actually talking about. It looks like a policies and procedures manual. The way I wrote the first part of it. So it talks about you being on the job and what you're attracted to, and it talks about the essentials, right? Of just the dating part of it. Is the way somebody dressed important to you? Is that what attracts you? If somebody smokes, is that a deal breaker, or is it okay? The funny thing I found out about that, and the interesting thing I found out about that is a lot of people have a problem with people smoking cigarettes, but they don't have a problem with people going in the garden, right?
Yeah.
That was interesting too. Also under the essentials, a person's sexual history. Asking a person, hey, have you been to the doctor? When's the last time you went to the doctor? Do you have anything? So those are things that are under the essential. The absentee tardy policy. So that one has to do with all things time. So that's really focused on women too, because it's focused on women because women are geared towards time. If you think about it, biological clocks, menopause, you know what I'm saying? All those types of things, and even having geriatric pregnancies, right? And so, that's everything from when I exchange phone numbers with a person, how long should I call them? How long should it take before I tell them I love you and have the I love you talk? How long do you tell somebody, or how long should you date them before you be like, okay, let's have the talk? So those are things under the tardy absenteeism policy, things that have to do with time. And so then it gets into a little deeper talking about, if somebody has kids, how do they treat their kids? Do they spend time with their kids? What's the parenting relationship like? Conflict. It's like sections like conflict of interest. Sections like the workplace. The workplace are things like, can this person sustain themselves? Do they have things set in place? So when y'all get the man and the woman, not just the man, but the man and the woman. So we always talk about, does the man have this and does he have this and this, that? Well, I feel like a woman should have that too if she's requiring that of a man. And so a man should look for a woman that's independent also, that they can sustain themselves as well, just in case something happens to you and you're not able to provide anymore. So these are things that I talk about that I feel like people should reflect. And it's broken into different sections of like the workplace. I call one conflict of interest. The conflict of interest is interesting because that part talks about how much did you involve your friends and family in your relationship. It talks about having friends of the opposite sex. Is that an issue? My besties are all women. You know what I'm saying? And so if I get with the woman, is she going to be able to handle that, or is that going to be an issue? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So these are things that are conflict of interest. So that's what it explores.
And I think that's important. You brought on a big point there because, like you said, I have a lot of male friends. I'm friends with a lot of my exes. I am extremely flirtatious. I'm sitting at the bar with my partner, and I'm over here talking to Brad. Brad, what you do for a living? And I be talking about he do this, babe. So you need to have a partner who can handle that. Because I don't want to not be myself. I don't want to be sneaking around doing whatever or waiting until my partner leave to call my best friend because he doesn't like what I'm doing. So I think it's important to ask those questions. And those are a lot of questions that people don't like to ask. Especially that medical history. Nowadays, you can't just ask. You need to see it. You need to go to the doctors with them. I have seen so many HIV stories where they have admitted those results and they come to find out a year, 2 years from now, they now have it because the partner didn't disclose that part. So I'm like, now we got to go to the doctors with you. Like, it is a lot in dating. This is really a lot. But I think you said one thing about, and I wish I could remember what it was, because you kind of said, women do it, but I can't remember what it was. I think this is such a thing that we could go on and on and on about. So I definitely want to have you back on once the book is finished and published so we can go ahead and promote it. I really enjoyed having all three of you guys. You guys are a
Bye, Kobe.
wealth of knowledge. Yeah, wealth of knowledge. And I want to encourage each and every one of you to follow all three guests. I am absolutely, as they're in their journey, we are going to have you come back in a couple of weeks if that's okay. Also, I want you to make sure that you are following him. So when this book publishes, we want this to be a success because I feel like dating is something that's not talked about. You hear the things of you want a child, you want this, you hear the basics, but you don't get to the nitty gritty. And I think that's what's going to make marriages and relationships sustain is asking those hard questions.
So one thing I also want to add too is back in 2013 is when I really got the bug to try to start to write something. So I have two already published in 2013 and 2014 on Amazon. So the first one is called The Love Letters, An Interview with Love. Okay. I self-published that. The Love Letters, An Interview with Love. And so that one, what it is me having various conversations with different people. And what I did was I tried to make a creative way of responding poetically to these questions, right? I mean, to these conversations. So the first part is called the conversation, and then there was a response. So then it's like an interview with love. So then the conversation, and then it says love, blase, whatever, and then I sign it with a cute little tagline at the end. So that's the love letters, the interview with love. And the second one is called Headlines, the Second Class Citizen. Headlines, the Second Class Citizen. And both of those are still on Amazon for you to buy, purchase. There, one of them is $6 and one of them is $7. So you spend that at the store. So, and they're only ebook. I didn't publish them or anything like that, hardback or softback. So you can get those on Amazon also.
Okay, so we definitely are going to be following you so we can get, guys, please purchase these books. Also, I saw somebody said that they missed the first half of the show. I will be uploading the full episode on my YouTube page. Last week's show is also on my YouTube. I will tag my YouTube in my bio. So if you've missed any part of the interview, I encourage you to go on there and watch it. Also, I will be sending clips throughout the week of the interview, key points so that you guys can follow it. Did anybody have any questions for 1-800-RED-FLAGS before we wrap up? I know we went a little bit over, but the conversation got so great. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so definitely, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the new book come out. I'm going to check out your books on some people say we can't say it, some people say we can. I'll check out those books as well. Like I said, I will be leaving the full interview in my on my YouTube page, guys. If you miss any part of this interview, I encourage you to follow these three men. Before you leave, I'm going to ask you a question for me. So I'm going to need you to pick two numbers between 1 and 27.
Me or the audience?
You. I'm sorry.
I'm going to pick 13.
13. And what's your other number?
17.
17. Okay. So these are the two winners for my book giveaway. If you guys know, I've reached 100 copies sold, so I said I would be doing a giveaway. So number 13 is Mrs. Gray. I saw her on Amazon as a review, so I'll try to contact you. And number 17 is actually my cousin, Riri, so I'll be reaching out to you guys. I'm going to ask you to pick one more number between 1 and 6.
4.
4. Okay, this is for the raffle. That is my Aunt Lynette. She purchased a raffle ticket, so she'll be winning all three of my books or a $25 Amazon gift card. So I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who came on the show today, everybody who listened in, anybody who bought a copy of the book. Please pick up these books. I feel like they are needed. I just want to thank each and every one of you. We will be doing this every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please inbox me as soon as possible, and I would love to have you on. Red Flags, is there anything you want to say before we let you go?
That's it. I mean, I appreciate you for having me on. I appreciate I was reading all the comments. That's why sometimes I was laughing because I was reading the comments. So I read all the comments. I appreciate y'all for coming in and hanging around, being a little late to listen to what I have to say. I appreciate y'all.
Not a problem. I definitely appreciate you taking time. And like I said, he holds a lot of great panels, you guys. If you're not following him, Pootie or Chef K, they all have different shows at different times. Oh, what time is your panel? I'm sorry, I almost forgot. That's really important. What time?
I don't have it. So I do pop-ups that people just come, just like that full panel. It's just people coming in and see me on. I don't have a set time. People telling me I should get a set time, but I just don't have a set time. I kind of like it like that because I'm getting all different types of people at different times of the day that I come on.
And that's the beauty of TikTok. I think it's your page, your platform to run how you want it. So if people want to see it, they'll follow. Because I think you can put a notification to say, "Tell me when this person goes live." So I think that's great. So I definitely encourage you guys to follow, engage in some of those conversations. I thank you again, everybody, for tuning in this late, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week on Raw and Unfiltered Spotlight.
And one thing I do have tomorrow. I'm having my first agency big battle with I'm part of the Butterfly Effect. So I have my first agency big battle tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So please come in, support your favorite red flag.
Oh, I'm gonna be on a plane. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna be on my way to Vegas, but I know it's gonna be great. But guys, if you are around tomorrow, 6 Central Time, you said, which is 7 Eastern.
Yeah, 6 Central Time. Yeah.
Yes, please join in and let's support each other in this community. Any other lasting questions or thoughts for anybody before I let you guys go? Okay, well, that is another episode of Raw and Unfiltered Spotlight, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week at 8 p.m. Thank you guys for joining.